And today I want to share experience that I had traveling back from my vacation. And I want to know or get you guys' opinion on if it was um I thought that was gonna happen circumstantial, or it could also have been the word I'm trying to think of. I can't think about it right now. But purposeful, I think, God led or just circumstances. But everything's kind of like purposeful for me. But I was traveling back from my vacation, and the guy that I sat next to, um, like I accidentally bumped him, and I was just like, "Oh, so sorry." And he was like, "No, it's cool." The reason why I'm sharing that because he was just like a really nice guy. And normally I don't like to talk, and I'm quiet, but this time I just felt like, hey, maybe I should change it up. You just never know who needs someone to talk to. And so the stewardess was like, "Are you guys still together?" And I was like, "Oh no," because we're like squished. She was like, "Oh, I want to see if I can change seatings." Because literally he was squished. um, and then so I started talking to him. Um, and we just started talking about like where we're coming from, and then I started to talk to him. Oh yeah, I think he said that. Oh yeah, I asked him. I was like, "Oh yeah, thank you for taking one for the team because you in the middle, you squished, and somebody had to do it." And he was like laughing it off and was like, "Yeah." And then that's when he started talking about where he's coming from, and then I was telling him where I came from, and then he was just like, "Yeah." He was coming from Vancouver, Canada. Hopefully, I said that right. And that he missed his flight, and and then in my head, I'm just like, normally I'd be watching situations like when people miss a flight, like, there's a purpose behind it. So then I was talking to him, and we just started talking about like trips, and we had a lot in common. And he was like a solo traveler, and I was like, yeah, nah, I can't do that. I feel like I always have to have somebody go with me, but I'm starting to think that maybe I should do solo traveling, so you don't have to depend on nobody. And not in that sense of depending on people, but rely. So, anyways, so we go throughout the flight, and I don't talk because like I know like for me when you're on a flight, I don't feel like hearing everybody's conversation. So I was quiet. So then when it was time to land, I started talking more because the flight's about to be over. And then he started telling me about his life, right, and his work life balance. And I'm a life coach, so I just love to hear people and they work life balance. And he was showing me pictures of his trip, and he went to Brazil. He was telling me about his trip to Brazil, and I wanted to go there. And then he started telling me about like his fear of flying. He has a fear of flying, and he also has a fear of the water. And he told me about like what happened to him in the water. He had like a brush through, maybe it was a shark in the water, but we both shared our fear of the sharks in the water. And then he started saying stuff about like his blessings, right? And I always tune into like people and certain kind of words they use to see if they are a believer. And so um he started talking about like blessings and like something about how like the way his life is that like they're up. And I was like, no, it don't work like that. Like, like God is not like that. And so we started talking about God. No, we didn't start talking about God, but we started talking about like yeah, I said something about Jesus, right? And I was like, yes, he said the word. Let me go in. But then he was telling me about his his goal to conquer sharks. He's gonna go to Africa, South Africa, and get in the waters with the shark. And I was like, not me, but that's his plan. And so for me, I was like, I want to know this. I want to see the update of how this is what's gonna happen. And so he doesn't have a social media. So I was just like, dang, like I feel like I really felt in my heart that we're supposed to connect. Like there's a reason for us connecting. Mind you, he missed his flight. And so I was telling him that I was like, I feel like there's a purpose for you missing that flight. And so I ended up giving him my business card. And he was like, "Oh, thank you so much for your business card," and yada yada yada. And then I said goodbye. And then also his friend that he was traveling with was also Catholic, and so he also was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up," because they looked at my business card and it's Christian. And so yeah, so I just felt like I wanted to share that because I felt like it was a purpose behind it. Like he hasn't reached out to me, and most likely he won't because his trip won't be until next year, but hopefully he remembers me. But I want to share that. I want to share how I don't know the purpose behind it, but I feel like there is a purpose in it. Like I know it's not circumstantial where he missed his flight and then he ended up sitting next to me and then we end up having a lot in common and then he doesn't do social media. That's like the hard part, but like I agreed to him why we shouldn't do social media, and then he ended up being a brother. Well, he didn't, I think he's Catholic. Like he didn't say what he was, but he said Jesus and he talked about God. So we're just gonna go with Catholic because where he's from. So yeah, so I just want to share that. And then I hopefully will know the purpose behind our connection in the future. But I definitely feel like it was God led because normally again I don't like to talk on the plane and I just felt like I should. So I wanted to share that. And if he does ever reach out, I will keep you updated. So if you guys ever had any experience like that, please feel free to share it and comment below. And until then, I hope that you guys have a blessed one. And I'm going to sign off now. Bye. And when I say bye, I'm trying to see how I get off. So bye.